Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, dear colleagues, and welcome to this regional meeting. Let me please start my screen sharing so that you can hold the screen, my presentation. Perfect. Could you please indicate if you're able to see my screen?
Yes, we can see it clearly.
Thank you, Rochelle. Okay. Honorable Minister Ganglet Kim, dear WHO and FAO colleagues, distinguished participants and INFOSAN members, again, good morning, good afternoon, good evening from all around, not all around the globe, but all around in Asia and Western Pacific. We are very happy, very glad to welcome you to this 7th regional meeting with INFOSAN members in Asia. My name is Raul Garcia, and if you don't know me, I am part of the INFOSAN Secretariat team. We would like to start by thanking everyone for the time that you've invested in joining this meeting. We know that this December is always a busy time for everyone, so we really appreciate that you are here with us today. We are really delighted to see you all here, and we are very much looking forward to having a great discussion on the different topics that we've prepared for this regional meeting. I think with no further delay, we can already start with the content of the agenda. We have, as I said, some topics to cover, so better keep in time. But before heading into the opening remarks, I would like to kindly request and provide some instructions. First, I would like to kindly request that you ensure that your microphones are on mute, this so that we don't have any audio interferences or any issue with that. In case you want to intervene or if you want to raise a question or a comment, we kindly ask that you either raise your hand with the hand tool that's available here on Zoom, or you can also please feel free to use the chat so that we can later read your questions. We kindly also request that you put your names and countries in your name here in Zoom so that we can see who is here, and it will be also easier in case you have questions to identify you and your question. As you know, also the second piece of information that I have for you today, from the previously shared information, interpretation has been kindly provided by the Republic of Korea authorities. So we kindly advise you that in case any of the interventions is made in Korean, you can select English in the bottom bar that you will find here on Zoom. You can find the button interpretation. You can click there, and then you will find three of English and Korean. Please, if the intervention is done in Korean, select English and then come back to the plenary by selecting off once we go back to English in the plenary. So thanks again, everyone, for your time. Really appreciate it. And we can move forward to the open remarks, for which we, as I said, will have the honor to hear from the Minister Ganglet Kim from the Ministry of Food and Drug Safety from the Republic of Korea. We very much appreciate his presence today and the kind words that he will deliver to inspire everyone to have a great meeting. And also very thankful for all the support provided by the Republic of Korea authorities in the development and preparation of this meeting. We are really honored by his presence today. We will then hear from Dr. Babatunde Olowokure from the Western Pacific Regional Office for WHO, who is the Regional Emergency Director. And we will then hear from Dr. Mark Sleep from FAO, who's a Senior Food Safety Officer from FAO. So with that, I would like to give the floor then to Honorable Minister Ganglet Kim for the opening remarks from the Republic of Korea. And thank you very much again for all the support.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I hope everyone can hear me without any difficulties. Okay, welcome everyone. It is my great pleasure for me. It is my great pleasure to welcome you to the 7th INFOSAN in ASEAN meeting jointly hosted by the WHO, WPRO, and the Ministry of Food and Drug Safety of the Republic of Korea. This meeting serves to introduce best practices for information sharing on food safety at the regional level under INFOSAN. It also offers the opportunity to share opinions virtually with the members of INFOSAN in Asia during these difficult times due to COVID-19. I would like to extend my deepest appreciation to colleagues from FAO, WHO headquarters, and the WHO Western Pacific Regional Office for your support in making today's meeting possible. This year marks the 7th anniversary of the INFOSAN in Asia meeting, which was started in 2012 with the support of Global INFOSAN. The trade volume of food products continues to grow, and food consumption patterns are similar among INFOSAN members in Asia. I believe it is our mandate to enhance food safety through rapid sharing of food safety information among countries in our region in order to ensure safe and reliable food products for consumers. Certain countries have experienced recalls of globally consumed food products due to food safety issues. For example, in Europe, ethylene oxide, a known carcinogen, was detected in sesame and some ice cream food additives last year. This is one example of why global and regional collective action is required. Since a food safety issue in one country can ripple across the globe, we also face the possibility of new food safety issue occurring due to climate changes. On top of that, it is important to rapidly and accurately communicate by utilizing information networks between countries in order to ramp up prevention. Please continue to support our effort to issue a member guide for INFOSAN in Asia. It is designed to quickly provide information when a food safety issue arises in member countries. Based on the member guides, we should expand the information exchanges related to food safety emergencies and crises in different countries by utilizing the close cooperative networks that exist between member countries and other regions. Through information exchanges, my ministry, MFDS, will make our best effort to help Asian countries make a safer Asia in cooperation with the WHO, FAO, and the Western Pacific Regional Office, so that we may all adapt to future environmental changes. There is an old saying, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. Let's go together to secure a food-safe environment in which not only participants here at this conference, but all over the world can feel safe. I thank you. 감사합니다.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister Ganglit Kim, for these very inspiring words on how we can collaborate together to ensure that the food that is distributed in Asia is safe for everyone, and in highlighting the role that collaboration will take to achieve this goal. Thank you again for all the support provided for this meeting. With this, I would like to move forward to the next opening remark from, as I said, Dr. Babatunde Olowokure, who is the Regional Emergency Director at the WHO Regional Office for the Western Pacific. Dr. Babatunde, if you are there, please, the The floor is yours.
Honourable Minister, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. On behalf of the Regional Director, WHO Western Pacific Region, Dr. Takeshi Kasai, it gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to this virtual INFOSAN in Asia regional meeting. Unfortunately, he is not able to be present today, but he is looking forward to reading the report of your deliberations. The COVID-19 pandemic has provided an unprecedented challenge to health systems, health security, and food systems globally. The economic and social disruption caused by the pandemic has been devastating. As of yesterday, the 6th of December, 2021, more than 265 million people have been diagnosed with the virus causing COVID-19, and an estimated 5.2 million people have lost their lives. The pandemic is more than a health crisis. It has impacted people's livelihoods, their health, and food systems. The COVID-19 pandemic has affected multiple aspects of our food systems, from decisions on food exports to the ability of government agencies to inspect food and facilities, to the ability of consumers to dine at restaurants. Additionally, along with other public health programs, national food safety programs have been impacted by the repurposing of facilities and human resources to support the COVID-19 response. At the beginning of the pandemic, there was a belief that the strict measures of containment and the improved hygiene practices would reduce the incidence of foodborne hazards, in particular in relation to biological hazards. With all the attention focused on the COVID-19 response, there was also a forecast that food fraud would increase due to the reduction of physical food inspections and laboratory analysis. However, examination of data on food safety events reported from this region since the beginning of the pandemic to INFOSAN showed a different story. There was an increase in events reported to INFOSAN, and this was consistent with global trends. This can be explained by the fact that countries, despite the pandemic, were better prepared, had anticipated food fraud, and as a result, improved their monitoring systems. This strengthened preparedness reflects the maturity of national food safety systems in our region, specifically in relation to emergencies. Countries with stronger food safety systems can detect and respond to food safety incidents in a timely manner. Strengthening food monitoring and surveillance coordination at the national level is essential for the detection of cases, for the sharing of information, and for evidence-informed decision-making. In order to be ready to respond, an emergency and response plan for food safety events needs to be in place. Communication is a crucial component of such an emergency plan, especially when international trade is involved. The role of INFOSAN in preparing member states to deal with foodborne incidents, to facilitate the communication and support response when needed, has had an important positive impact on food safety events reported in our region. WHO acknowledges the complexity of food safety national governance and the importance of a good multi-sectoral coordination between stakeholders, including the involvement of emergency response actors. WHO supports member states in strengthening food safety systems and in achieving the core capacities required under the international health regulations, thereby strengthening the linkages between national focal points for the international health regulations and INFOSAN. This meeting contributes to the implementation of the regional framework for action of food safety in the Western Pacific, especially in the action area related to incident and emergency response. The meeting also supports implementation of the Asia-Pacific Strategy for Emerging Diseases and Public Health Emergencies, otherwise known as APSED, which supports preparedness and response for food safety events. Additionally, The outcomes of this meeting will contribute to implementation of the For the Future, the WHO Western Pacific region vision of a healthier and safer region under the thematic priority health security, including antimicrobial resistance. There is a lot of work to be done, and the COVID-19 pandemic has impacted many areas of your countries. The pandemic has shone a light on the intrinsic relationship between food production, food safety, the environment, zoonoses, and human health. This means that challenges faced may best be addressed, taking a coordinated multi-sector approach. The pandemic has also been an opportunity to strengthen emergency response and laboratory capacities for now and the future. For example, capacity built in the use of whole genome sequencing during the pandemic is also an important tool that can be applied for foodborne events and food control safety systems improvement. Honorable Minister, unsafe food poses global threats, can become contaminated at any point of production and distribution, and can hamper the development of nations. Advocacy at the highest level is required to build and maintain adequate food systems and infrastructures, such as laboratories, and to respond to and manage food safety risks along the entire food chain, including during emergencies. Foodborne diseases and food contamination events highlight the need to secure public access to safe and healthy food for all. Unfortunately, I will not be able to attend the rest of the meeting, but the WHO food safety team are here and will do so. I wish you a very productive meeting and assure you of our commitment to support our member states towards making the region the healthiest and safest. Thank you, Chair. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Owokure, for this also inspiring words and providing more background on how INFOSAN has been working during the last years, and also this additional background on the regional work that has been done to respond to this type of not only food safety emergencies, but also all the emergencies. And in particular, the words that you provided related to the strategy that has been developed for this region on food safety. Thanks again also to all the WHO Regional Office of Western Pacific team that has been provided support to the Secretariat and the Republic of Korea in the development of this meeting. Later, we hope to hear a bit more from you. Okay, thank you very much again. We'll move then to Dr. Marcus Leib, Senior Food Safety Officer from the Food and Agricultural Organization of the United Nations, who will be delivering some opening remarks from FAO.
Thank you, Raul. Honorable Minister Ganglet Kim, ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, it's a great pleasure for us to be here. I would like to start with thanking the Republic of Korea for hosting this particularly important event, but not only that, for the unwavering support that the Republic of Korea has demonstrated towards food safety internationally, domestically as well, but I'm speaking more from the international perspective. And as examples, I would like to list the support of the Republic of Korea to the Task Force on Antimicrobial Resistance at Codex Alimentarius, and to the funding of a follow-up project at FAO that will focus on the implementation of these recommendations from the Task Force on AMR at Codex at a national level. There are additional important projects that are funded, supported by the Republic of Korea regarding smart farming for the future generation and many others. So we do enjoy and appreciate very much the unwavering support of the Republic of Korea to the work of FAO in general, but also specifically to the work of FAO in the area of food safety. Now, food safety is very important. We have heard this in various opening speeches. I can offer some additional perspectives. To quote our Director General, Ju Dong-yu, food security and food safety are basic rights of human beings. A previous Director General of FAO has also coined the phrase, there is no food security without food safety. Food safety is what separates agricultural products from becoming food. When they're safe enough for human consumption, they become food. Otherwise, they remain an agricultural product. Food safety is where agriculture meets public health. These are the touch points, and we have already heard from WHO that food safety is incredibly complicated. There are many different aspects, microbiology, chemistry. There are ongoing efforts in every nation at every level to strengthen food safety governance at a national and international level. And those efforts are necessary, are needed, and will remain necessary in the future to come. Let us not forget that, as if it were not complicated enough, we do not only have to deal with the food safety problems of today, with the emergencies of today, we also have to prepare for the food systems transformation to be able to produce enough safe, nutritious food for every person on this earth tomorrow, and in 10 years, and in 20 years, with an increasing number of people on this earth, with an increase in urbanization, and with our increasing realization, an acute realization that we have to do so within the planetary boundaries. We have to remain sustainable in the production of our food safety, of our food. We have to transform our food systems into sustainable sustainable food systems. And we have to do so without disrupting them, without threatening access to safe and nutritious food for a person. In fact, we have to try harder. We have to do better. We have to do more to ensure that indeed everybody, which is not the case today, that everybody has access to safe and nutritious food today, tomorrow, and in the years to come. For this, we need to exchange information. We need to collaborate. Food safety is a topic that is bigger than any single agency, United Nations or otherwise, than any single country or company. It's bigger than any single entity. We have to learn and we have to work together at an international and national level, because food safety is everybody's business. It's the farmers, it's the transporters, it's the supply chain, it's the markets, it's the supermarkets, it's the consumer in the house. We all need to work together towards safer food for all. INFOSAN, the International Food Safety Authorities Network, is a fantastic platform to exchange relevant, important, and pertinent information on food safety. FAO, together with WHO, is very proud to promote INFOSAN, to host INFOSAN, to support INFOSAN in order to facilitate information exchange on food safety, and thus promoting part of the whole equation that we all can enjoy safer food today as well as tomorrow. With that, Chair, thank you so much, and back to you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Leip, for these words again, that also highlight the role of INFOSAN. I mean, this is an INFOSAN meeting, so it's very important that we all have a good understanding of how INFOSAN is helping us to achieve this goal of having safer food and respond faster to food safety emergencies. Thank you very much for these words. And with this, I think we can move forward onto the content of what we are going to be discussing today. We have 3 sessions today, aside from the opening remarks and the introductions. Now we're going to move on to the introductions. We will then hear the keynote speech from the Republic of Korea on their experience using INFOSAN. Then we will hear from the INFOSAN Secretariat team the different activities and the incidents that have been happening, also from with the support of the colleagues from the Western Pacific Regional Office for WHO. We'll then have a break, and we'll come back to hear a bit more on the new INFOSAN community website. We know that you've been hearing about this a lot, so we've prepared some slides for you to deepen a bit more on how you can use this new tool. And finally, we'll have a plenary discussion that will cover in particular the barriers and the challenges for active participation in INFOSAN. More about this when we touch that section. Okay, so moving then into the objectives of this specific meeting that, as you know, it's the 7th time that we gather with members in Asia. So we usually try to do this to update member states in the region of the different about the different activities that, as I was saying, that we've been performing this time, not only in the last year but also in the previous year, which was 2020. This time we will also take the opportunity to introduce officially to you the INFOSAN community website in a meeting, because we've already shared with you this introduction via email, but today we will have more time to discuss it in person. And we will also have the opportunity to introduce and discuss an initiative that was launched by the Republic of Korea and then developed jointly with the INFOSAN Secretariat, which is a strategic plan and a members guide specifically tailored and prepared for members in Asia. Finally, we'll also have the chance, by discussing about these barriers and challenges that we face when we use INFOSAN, we'll be able to identify and discuss a bit more on other topics on food safety that could be of interest for the region, such as, for example, foodborne disease surveillance. Now I would like to give the floor to, for the introductions, to colleagues from the Ministry of Food and Drug Safety in the Republic of Korea to introduce themselves, as they have been co-hosts, and they are co-hosts of this meeting and have been providing a lot of support for the development of this meeting. And we thank you again for all of the support. So over to you, please.
안녕하십니까. 저는 한국의 인포산 긴급상황연락관 김달환입니다. 저는 잠시 후 한국에서의 인포산 활동을 발표할 예정입니다. 여기 한국에서 오프라인으로 회의에 참석하신 분들을 소개해 드리겠습니다. 먼저 식품의약품안전처 소비자위해 예방국 백혜정 국장님이 참석해 주셨습니다. 국장님께서는 내일 회의 전체를 마무리하는 폐회사를 해주실 예정에 있습니다. 또 오늘 회의에는 한국 측 자정은 세명대학교 오창환 교수님께서 맡아주실 예정에 있습니다. 오창환 교수님은 지난 인포산 회의를 2번이나 참석하신 경험이 있습니다. 다음은 한국의 연락 담당관을 소개하겠습니다. 먼저 농림축산식품부와 식품안전정보원 글로벌 정보부에서 각각 참석해 주셨습니다. 이 외에도 식약처 국제협력 담당관께서 참석해 주셨습니다. 이상으로 한국 측 참가자 소개를 마치겠습니다. 감사합니다.
Thank you very much, colleagues from the Ministry of Food and Drug Safety, for this introduction. We're very thankful for all the support. Then I would like to move to the introduction from the FAO and WHO colleagues that are here with us. I would like to first invite my colleagues from the INFOSAN Secretariat to say hi to everyone here in the meeting, and just give your name, and that should suffice. And then I would like to invite colleagues from the Western Pacific Regional Office for the WHO to also say hi. So over to you, colleagues, please.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Rachel Al-Khouri, and I welcome you here today to this meeting. I am part of the INFOSAN Secretariat team, and I hope we have very nice and fruitful discussions today. Thank you all.
Hello, Honorable Minister, distinguished attendees. My name is Francisco Guajardo, and I am part of the INFOSAN Secretariat. Thank you for your participation in this regional meeting.
Good afternoon, good morning, distinguished participants. I am Eleonora Dupuy from FAO and part of INFOSAN Secretariat, and I welcome as well you in this regional meeting and wishing you constructive deliberations. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I am Ismail Moraes Razel. I am the Food Safety Technical Officer in WHO for the Western Pacific region. I would like to welcome you all for this meeting and wish to all of us 2 very productive days of presentations and discussions.
Thank you very much, colleagues, for your words to the participants. Now, also very important to mention who is here. We won't have, unfortunately, the time to go through all of you to introduce yourselves. We encourage you to say hi to the chat and tell us where you're from. But here is the list of the participants, the member states that are attending the meeting. We have both from the Western Pacific region of WHO and also from Southeast Asia region of WHO. We will be sharing a detailed list of participants in the INFOSAN community website. We have created a dedicated space for these member states that are listed here, so that we can share also there the materials from the meeting, including this list that I just mentioned, in case you want to know who in detail was attending this session. Here I will just read them. We have INFOSAN colleagues from Australia, Brunei Darussalam, Cambodia, China, Japan, Lao People's Democratic Republic, Malaysia, Mongolia, New Zealand, Philippines, Republic of Korea, of course, Singapore, Vietnam, from Western Pacific, and from Southeast Asia, we have INFOSAN colleagues from Bhutan, India, Indonesia, Sri Lanka, and Thailand. And I take also this opportunity to thank all the INFOSAN members that have kindly agreed to provide support for day 2. Tomorrow I will thank you again. Okay, I think then we can move forward to the keynote speech, which will be delivered by the Emergency Contact Point in the Republic of Korea, Dr. Dal-Hwan Kim, who is the Risk Information Division Director from the Ministry of Food and Drug Safety. Dr. Dal-Hwan Kim, please, the floor is yours. I will stop sharing my screen so that you can go on with your presentation. Many thanks.
네, 안녕하십니까. 조금 전에 소개받은 식품의약품안전처 소유자회원국 위의 정보과 김다란입니다. 2021년도 아시아인포산 국제회의에서 만나 뵙게 되어 기쁘게 생각합니다. 그리고 첫 발표로 한국의 인포산 경험에 대해 공유하게 되어 영광입니다. 모쪼록 아시아인포산의 발전을 위해 조금이나마 도움이 되기를 희망합니다. 우선 한국의 식품의약품안전처에 대해 간략하게 소개해 드리겠습니다. 식품의약품안전처는 1996년 보건복지부 소속의 식품안전본부로 출발하여 98년 독립기관인 식품안전청이 되었고 2013년에 식품안전처로 승격하였습니다. 현재의 식약처로 승격된 배경에는 첫째, 국내에서 식품사고가 지속적으로 발생하는데 이를 관리하는 식품안전관리당국이 여러 개 흩어져 있어 식품안전관리를 일원화해야 할 필요가 있었습니다. 둘째로 WHO, 미국, 중국 등 세계적으로 식품을 통합적으로 관리하는 새로운 규제 추세가 발표되었습니다. 식약청에서 식약처로 승격되면서 바뀌게 된 변화들은 다음과 같습니다. 먼저 식품 단계별로 흩어져 있던 관리 권한이 식약처로 단일화되면서 식품안전 관련의 재정 또는 개정 권한을 갖게 되었습니다. 식약처의 비전과 미션은 스마트한 리더, 스마트한 코디네이터, 스마트한 스포트를 통해 식품, 의약품, 건강한 국민을 만드는 것입니다. 핵심 전략으로는 첫 번째, 기본이 탄탄한 먹거리 안전, 두 번째, 믿을 수 있는 의약품, 의료기기, 생활용품, 세 번째, 따뜻한 소통, 네 번째, 맞춤형 규제로 활력 넘치는 혁신형 성장입니다. 식약처는 역할에 따라 크게 3개의 부분으로 나누어 있습니다. 식약처 본부는 정책 수립과 법률을 관리하고 소속기관인 식품안전평가원은 과학적 유해평가와 심사 연구개발 상담하며 지방식약청은 안전관리를 현장에서 직접 수행하고 있습니다. 우리나라 식품의약 안전관리는 식약처를 중심으로 이루어지며 식약처는 모든 식품 관련 정부 부처의 컨트롤 타워로서 역할을 수행합니다. 총괄적인 안전관리는 식약처가 맡고 평상시 관할 지역별 관리는 지방자치단체에서 집행합니다. 단계별로는 생산 단계에서는 농식품부, 해수부가 공동관리하는 체계로 이루어져 있습니다. 이를 통해 생산 단계부터 제조, 수입, 유통, 소비에 이르는 전 과정에 대해 일원화된 식품안전관리를 유지하고 있습니다. 보실 바와 같이 식약처는 농산물, 가공식품, 의약품, 의료기기 등 국민생활과 매우 밀접하고 다양한 분야를 관리하고 있습니다. 식품의약품안전처는 보시는 바와 같이 한국의 충북 5성에 있습니다. 또한 6개 주요 도시에 지방청을 두고 있으며 6개 지방청은 수입식품의 통관전 검사와 국내에서 유통 중인 제품의 수거 검사 업무를 수행하고 있습니다. 식약처의 직원은 총 2,000명 정도 됩니다. 다음은 글로벌 인포산과 아시아인포산에 대해 간단하게 설명드리겠습니다. 글로벌 인포산은 WHO 글로벌 인포산입니다. WHO는 2004년 FAO와 협력하여 국제식품안전당국 네트워크를 발족하였으며 현재 188개 국가가 인포산 회원국으로 활동하고 있습니다. 회원국들은 이곳 인포산의 웹사이트를 통해 식품안전사건 및 식품 관련 질병 발생 정보 등을 공유하고 있습니다. 신속한 정보 공유는 각 회원국이 식품안전 상황에 대해 적절한 행동을 취할 수 있도록 돕고 있습니다. 아시아인포산입니다. 글로벌 인포산은 2010년 제2차 국제회의를 통해 회원국의 인포산 참여를 증대하기 위한 지역 기반 전략 개발에 합의하였습니다. 그리고 2011년 9월 한국은 아시아 인포산 본부의 지원하에 식품안전사고 발생 시 아시아 국가 간 실시간 정보 교류, 협력 방안 모색을 위해 인포산 미팅 for 아시안 컨트리 국제회의를 개최하였습니다. (2012년 12월) WHO WPRO와 식약청 공동으로 제1회 아시아인포산 국제회의를 개최하였으면서 아시아 지역 인포산 정보 교류 활성화 방안 등 글로벌 인포산의 지역 네트워크 활동을 시작하였습니다. 2012년 회의에서는 아시아 지역 국가 간 인포산 정보 교류 활성화 전략안을 마련하였으며 국가별 인포산을 통한 정보 교류 체계 및 대응 사례 등이 각각 소개되었습니다. 다음은 인포산의 긴급 정보 공유, 한국의 인포산 경험 사례, 인포산의 활동 필요성을 소개하겠습니다. 인포산을 통해 전 세계적으로 관심 있는 또는 우려가 있는 식품안전 사건 등에 대해 긴급 정보 및 비긴급 정보가 공유되고 있습니다. 인포산을 통해 공유되는 긴급 정보의 범위는 크게 세 가지로 나눌 수 있습니다. 첫째, 인체 질병 사례의 유무와 관계없이 수입 또는 수출 식품의 회수 정보로 농약, 첨가물, 독소 기준 초과, 이물 검출, 알레르기 미표시로 인한 회수 정보 등이 있습니다. 둘째, 식품과 관련된 인체 질병 정보로 살모넬라 검출된 돼지고기 섭취로 인한 식중독 발생, 생고기 섭취로 인한 비브리오 감염 등이 있습니다. 셋째로는 한 국가에서 발생한 불량식품이 국제적으로 유통된 정보로 검사를 받지 않는 제품의 유통, 미허가 및 미승인 제품의 유통 등입니다. 이와 같은 유형의 긴급 정보는 인포산 웹사이트로 공유하거나 해당 유통국이 있는 경우 각국의 ECP 메일 등을 통해 공유받게 됩니다. 다음은 한국의 인포산 긴급정보 처리 시스템을 소개하겠습니다. 인포산 사무국을 통해 한국산 수출 제품이 부적합으로 회수됨을 통보받게 되면 한국의 긴급상황연락관 ECP는 24시간 이내에 인포산 사무국에 메일 수신함을 회신하고 긴급정보를 검토 및 답변 가능한 부서 또는 기관을 확정하고 정보를 공유합니다. 담당 부서는 해당 수출사 또는 농수산물의 경우 한국어의 연락 담당 간 포컬 포인트인 농식품부와 협의하여 답변을 제공받습니다. 제품을 수출한 국가, 제품 제조번호, 라벨 사진 등 답변은 인포산 사무국에 신속하게 회신하게 됩니다. 식약처는 위한 식품으로 인한 위해 요인을 사전에 예방하기 위해 해외 위해 정보를 신속하게 수집, 공유, 분석하고 있습니다. 사업부서 및 유관기관 등이 적절한 조치를 취할 수 있도록 지원함으로써 국민 건강 보호를 위한 선제적 안전 관리를 위해 노력하고 있습니다. 신속한 위해 정보 수집을 위해 식품안전정보원에서 해외 29개국의 주요 정부기관, 국제기구, 언론 등 200개 사이트를 40개 검색어, 영어, 일어, 독어, 중국어, 불어, 스페인어, 태국어, 베트남어 등 8개 언어권에 대해 1년 365일 매일 수집하고 있습니다. 수집된 해수뿐만 아니라 정책 정보 등도 식약처 위해정과에서 분석하여 사업부서에 공유하고 있습니다. 2019년부터 2021년까지 인포산을 통해 공유된 대표 사례들입니다. 공유된 사례의 대부분은 알레르기 유발 물질 미표시, 리스테리아, 살모넬라 등 미생물 부적합으로 인한 식품 정보들입니다. 해수 제품 중 대부분은 한국에서 수출된 제품이 해외에서 부적합되어 해당 제품의 제1급 통관 여부, 수출 제품의 로트, 수입 업체 정보 등에 대한 세부 정보를 요청하였으며 한국은 수출 업체를 통해 해당 세부 정보를 인포산 사무국에 회신하였습니다. 다음은 2021년 한국의 인포산 경험을 말씀드리겠습니다. 첫 번째 사례는 2021년 1월 한국산 수출 제품의 해수로 발생했던 것입니다. 캐나다 식품검사청과 호주 뉴질랜드 식품기준청에서 알레르기 유발 물질 달걀 미표시로 한국산 호떡을 회수하면서 리콜 사실을 인포산 사무국에 통보하였습니다. 인포산 사무국은 한국의 ECP에게 해당 제품이 캐나다, 호주 이외의 국가로도 유통되었는지 등 수출 제품 세부 정보를 공유해 줄 것을 한국에 요청하였습니다. 한국 ECP는 수출 제품 당산 부서인 식품안전정책과로 정보를 공유하였습니다. 식품안전정책과는 수출 업체와 연락을 통해 해당 제품이 캐나다, 호주, 뉴질랜드 이외에 미국, 싱가포르도 유통됐음을 확인하였습니다. 한국의 ECP는 해당 사실을 인포산 사무국에 회신하였습니다. 이후 인포산 사무국은 미국, 뉴질랜드 및 싱가포르가 제품에 대한 조사를 진행할 수 있도록 해당 해수 제품에 대한 추가 정보, 즉 미국, 뉴질랜드, 싱가포르의 수입 업체명, 업체 연락처, 제품 로트 등을 요청하였습니다. 한국은 수출 업체를 통해 해당 수입국 업체명, 연락처 등을 파악하여 회신하였습니다. 또한 해당 제품과 관련하여 미국 FDA가 조사를 시작하면서 인포산 사무국이 추가 정보를 요청해 왔습니다. 미국 FDA는 인포산 사무국을 통해 해당 제품 라벨 사진과 미국으로의 배송 기록 정보를 요청하였고 한국 ECP는 수출 업체를 통해 제품 사진 및 배송 기록을 받아 인포산 사무국에 회신함으로써 해당 해수 제품에 대한 정보 공유는 완료되었습니다. 다음은 미국에서 발표한 보고서 내용에 대한 미국 FDA의 입장을 한국에서 질의한 내용입니다. 미국 하원 감독소위원회는 특정 유아식에서 신경 손상을 일으킬 수 있는 수준의 중금속인 납, 카드뮴, 수은, 무기비소를 발견하였다고 보고서를 발표했습니다. 또한 미국 경제 및 소비정책소위원회에서 유아식 제조업체 7개소에 중금속 시험 결과를 요구한다는 발표가 있었습니다. 한국은 미국 경제 및 소비정책위원회가 제언한 내용 즉 원료뿐만 아니라 완제품도 검사가 필요하고 중금속 수준을 식품에 표시해야 하며 FDA의 중금속 기준 설정 여부에 대한 FDA 입장 및 향후 조치 계획을 인포산 사무국을 통해 질의하였습니다. 미국 FDA는 사무국을 통해 2월 16일 FDA 웹사이트를 통해 해당 정보를 제공함을 회신해 주었습니다. 다음은 아시아 지역 국가 간 정보 교류 경험 사례입니다. 베트남의 인포산 20km부터 긴급 정보 요청이 있어 답변한 내용입니다. 베트남은 자국의 식품 안전 관리 차원에서 2-클로로에탄올 또는 에틸렌 옥사이드에 대한 한국에서의 식품 기준을 문의하였습니다. 참고로 처장님께서 말씀하셨듯이 유럽에서 농산물 및 그 가공품에서 발암 물질인 에틸렌 옥사이드가 검출되어 대규모로 제품 회수가 발생하였습니다. 한국 ECP는 해당 정보에 대한 적시 관련 부서에 문의하여 답변을 받아 회신하였습니다. 지금까지 2021년 한국이 경험한 인포산 사례에 대해 말씀드렸습니다. 이와 같이 한 국가의 식품 안전 문제는 다른 나라에도 중요한 문제가 되고 있습니다. 이렇듯 국가 간 식품 안전 정보의 원활한 공유는 자국민이 식품 안전을 확보할 수 있도록 도울 것이며 나아가 식품 안전 위기 상황을 예방하고 대응하는 역할을 할 것입니다. 이것이 인포산과 아시아 지역 인포산이 긴밀한 협력과 소통을 해야 하는 이유이기도 합니다. 인포산이 식품 안전 위기 상황을 예방하고 대응하는 역할을 수행한 지 20년을 맞이하였고 아시아 인포산 역시 아시아 지역 인포산 강화에 기여해 왔습니다. 2021년은 아시아의 더 안전한 식품 수호를 위해 인포산과 아시아 인포산이 노력할 것입니다. 이상입니다.
Thank you very much, Dr. Dao and Kim. It's been great to hear more about Republic of Korea experience in dealing with INFOSAN incidents. We hope that this will also inspire other member states in strengthening their participation in the network and being more active, because the Republic of Korea has been really great working with them during these type of incidents and great in communicating this type of information, allowing other countries to implement risk management measures. Of course, we also have great examples in the region that are also doing great. But it's always good to share experiences and learn from the others. I would like then to move to our next presentation and give the floor to my colleagues, both from WHO headquarters and from the regional office of the West Pacific, who will be presenting on the review that all the work that we have been doing. So in 2020 and 2021. So I would like to then invite my colleague Dr. El-Khoury to go on with the presentation. Thank you very much, Rochelle.
Thank you, Raul, and thank you all. Good morning again from this side of the world, and welcome to this session. During this session, we will see together a review of INFOSAN activities in 2020 and 2021 in the region, in Asia. This presentation, as my colleague Raul said, is going to be divided into two. The first one is going to be presented by the INFOSAN Secretariat, by myself, and the second one will be presented by our colleagues in the Western Pacific Region Office. So together we will see, as I said, the progress in the region, the achievements, and the challenges. Without any introductions, we will start by seeing the activities that the INFOSAN Secretariat did in the region in order to increase or to improve the activity of INFOSAN in the region in Asia. So as I said, several activities has been made over the past 2 years by the INFOSAN Secretariat regarding the development of the INFOSAN community in Asia. The first activity that we've done is to identify the inactive members in the region in order to replace them with active members. Because whenever we send information, it's very important that our members are active and they respond to our requests. Otherwise, the information will not be properly shared with other members. During the last 2 years, 15 new members from 9 member states and territories in Asia joined the INFOSAN network. In total, we currently have 91 members in total in Asia. Regarding the coverage of ECPs in the region, we currently have in 33 member states ECPs out of 38 member states. As you can see here, we have done a lot of effort, but there's still a lot of work to be done here in order to cover 100% of the countries there. We also did sub-regional and country support workshops in the last 2 years, especially last year where we did the sub-regional workshop with the countries in Asia. The third activity that we did is the continuous monitoring of events to encourage our members to use our platform, which is called INFOSAN community website, in order to share updates and experiences, not only in emergency situations, but also in non-emergency situations. This monitoring has led to an increase of number of countries reporting events via INFOSAN. Lastly, we organized, like today, the 7th regional meeting. Unfortunately, it's virtual, but we hope we all have the same results afterwards. The 7th regional meeting in coordination with the regional office and the Republic of Korea. This year in July, we launched the new INFOSAN community website. We replaced the old one with a new one in order to give our members a better user experience. This website is meant, and all the information that is displayed there is displayed in order for the members to have fast access to the information. I will not speak a lot about the INFOSAN community website because we have a dedicated session to do so with my colleague later today. Part of our activities is to publish or disseminate information or documents that were published together by the WHO and the FAO. Every month, we send our members an email with a document that was published by the FAO and the WHO. These documents are related to food safety topics. We do so in order to inform our members of the document published and also to ensure that they have fast access to this information. INFOSAN also was heavily involved in the World Food Safety Day during the last 2 years. In 2020 and 2021, the INFOSAN Secretariat organized webinars in French, Spanish, and English in order to encourage or inform our members on how they can properly participate in this World Food Safety Day. We participated in the World Food Safety Day in Africa by giving a presentation about INFOSAN. We also encouraged members to commemorate this day and shared available materials prepared jointly by the FAO and the WHO for this event. Last year, we also published several documents or guidance documents on COVID-19. We shared those documents through webinars that we prepared in April last year and shared it with the members, but we also published them on our old website here, as you can see, and also the new website. Due to COVID, the travel was restricted. So we developed 2 simulation exercises, 2 levels of simulation exercises. The first one is to test the communication between INFOSAN and the national IHR focal point. The second exercise that we started last year in 2020 is to test the ability of our members to take decisions during a food safety emergency. During this exercise, we give our members fictional situations about food safety incidents, and we ask you a series of questions. These questions will allow you to test your communication with other members in your country, with other agencies, and with the INFOSAN Secretariat. If you wish to do these simulation exercises, we encourage you to contact us via email, and then we can organize the simulation exercises together. As you know, also, we have our members guide and our INFOSAN IHR communication template. These documents are very important in order to have the full understanding of the role and and function of the INFOSAN Secretariat from one side, and the role and the functions of the INFOSAN members from the other side. These documents are available in 5 languages: French, English, Spanish, Russian, and Arabic. We also have publications and reports. We published in 2019 in 2020, we published our activity report that includes all the activities and the incidents that happened during those 2 years. In January 2022, we will start working on the activity report of 2020 and 2021. And of course, we will share it with you. We also share quarterly summaries in order to summarize the incidents that happened during every quarter of the year. We are going to see together now a series of numbers or charts showing the activity of INFOSAN during food safety emergencies in your region in specific, but also in the world. We will start by showing you this chart. This chart shows the activity, or actually the food incidents reported via INFOSAN from 2011 to 2021. As you can see, in 2011, only 46 incidents were reported to the INFOSAN Secretariat. And when I say incident, I mean incidents of an international impact, of course. And you can see the growth throughout the years, reaching 2021 with a jump in this number of incidents, reaching 204 until now. This is due, of course, to different factors, and one of them is the global meeting that was held in 2019, where the INFOSAN Secretariat met the members from all over the world, and they made a very clear plan on how to increase or to improve the communication between the members and the Secretariat. Those 204 events, they were distributed on several regions. We will see together now in this chart the distribution of those events in the regions. So in Europe, 151 events were reported. In Africa, 24. In the Eastern Mediterranean region, 27. In the Americas, 66. In Southeast Asia, 26. And the Western Pacific, 62. In the Western Pacific, the first 3 affected countries were China, Australia, and Singapore. In Southeast Asia, we have India, Thailand, and Maldives. Of course, these are not only the country of origins, these numbers represent both the incident where the countries were the country of origin and also when they were recipient countries. This chart represents the responsiveness of ECPs in the regions. As you can see here, we have Europe, Africa, the Eastern Mediterranean, Americas, Southeast Asia, and the Western Pacific. We have everything. When we send an email to our members, we always ask in our email to acknowledge receipt of our email within the first 24 hours. And we also ask our members or our ECPs to provide us with information. When the ECPs do so, we collect this data and we collect the date or the time it took them to acknowledge and to provide us with information in order to evaluate whether the members are active or not. And this chart shows exactly this type of data. In Southeast Asia, you can see here that 63% of our emails were acknowledged in general. Whereas here you cannot see it, but it's under the green dot, we have a red dot. And 41% of those emails were acknowledged in the first 24 hours. The ECPs in Southeast Asia, on average, provided us only 41% of the time with the information that we requested. As for the Western Pacific, the numbers are slightly different, but not that far. 69% of our emails were acknowledged in general, with 51% being acknowledged in the first 24 hours, and 41% of our ECPs, 41% of the times, our ECPs provided us with the information that we requested. This type of meetings is very important in order for us to showcase the points that could be improved when it comes to the communication between the INFOSAN members in the country and the INFOSAN Secretariat. The fastest ECP to acknowledge receipt in Southeast Asia was the ECP in Thailand. And the fastest ECPs in Western Pacific region to acknowledge receipt were the ECPs in Brunei Darussalam, Cambodia, Japan, and New Zealand. As I said, we also ask for the ECPs to provide us with information. We also collect this data in order to see how long it's taking for the ECP to provide us with information. And this type of data is also important in order for us to know whether we need to strengthen the capacity of the country in order to provide the INFOSAN, collect and provide the INFOSAN Secretariat with information. As you can see here, on average, it takes the ECPs in the Southeast Asia 6 days to provide us with information, and the Western Pacific 7 days. The fastest ECP in Southeast Asia region to provide us with information is the Maldives with 3.5 days. And the fastest ECPs in the Western Pacific region to provide us with information are Cambodia, Japan, New Zealand, and Australia. I put here some few incidents that we dealt with in 2021. One of the biggest incidents only. Of course, we dealt with way more than that. For the international incidents, we dealt with a lot of Salmonella outbreaks this year. Specifically, there was a big outbreak in Europe related to the consumption of melons from Honduras. This outbreak affected or caused the illness of more than 300 people in Europe, Canada, and the USA. INFOSAN played a crucial role in the dissipation of information between the ECPs in Honduras and the ECPs or the members in Europe. And it was because of INFOSAN that the cause of the outbreak was identified. As for the incidents in Asia, I only put 2 here, and one of them was mentioned before by our ECP in the Republic of Korea, which is the raw Pacific oyster produced in Australia and distributed to several countries. The other one, which is still ongoing, is the recall of enoki mushroom in Canada due to the presence of Listeria monocytogenes. So far, since 2019, Canada has done 10 recalls of this product. Finally, of course, you can see this. We are going to see this with my colleague later in the INFOSAN community website session. In order to facilitate the communication between the members in the same region, we opened groups or working groups on our website and added the members there. As you can see here, we have a group for the Latin America, we have a group for Africa, and now we created one for Asia. We added all the participants that are here today, we added you to this group in order for you to be able to share information during those 2 sessions today and tomorrow, but also in the future. As you know also, lastly, that INFOSAN is a network of network. We have communication or constant communication with RASAF, ECDC, and EFSA in Europe, with the African Union, with the Arabic SAFE, with the GRASAF, so it's the Gulf RASAF, the CPLP, the Asian RASAF, PulseNet, and GORN, GORN being the Global Outbreak Alert and Response Network. So as you can see, we receive our information from all of those surveillance networks in order for us to be able to take the decision and act based on the information provided. With that, I finish my presentation, and I thank you all for your attention. And I will stop sharing my screen now and leave the floor to my colleagues in WPRO. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Rochelle, for giving me the floor and for the opportunity to give a quick review on some aspects of INFOSAN in the region. Before starting, I would like to mention, we will mention about the recruit safety team. They are in the other office. We have the Jessica, Frida, and Alfonso, and thanks them for also supporting the organization of this meeting. So I will give you just an overview on how INFOSAN is important. It was already mentioned by our Regional Emergency Director, Dr. Babatunde. But just to highlight here, he mentioned about the three important frameworks. One of them is the Food Safety Regional Framework for Actions in the Food Safety in the Western Pacific. That was endorsed by our member states in 2017 and has an implementation timeline from 2018 until 2025. The second one he mentioned was APSET, which is the Strategy for Emergency Response. And in this strategy, it's recognized the multi-sector approach and the need to be prepared to respond to foodborne incidents as well. And as a regional document in general, is the For the Future, which is the vision on how the Western Pacific Regional Office works with our member states. And one of the strategic priorities is health emergencies. So INFOSAN is embedded on all these different guidance documents that guide our work in the region with all of you, our member states. Just to mention about, I know that there are some countries here from Seattle, and then on behalf of my colleague Gongal, that was not able to join us today, also to mention that Seattle also has a regional framework that also has that also addresses food safety emergency. And the APSET, the Strategy for Emergency, is a bi-regional document. It's CRO and WPRO. So it's all aligned also with the document. This is the regional framework has 5 action areas. And here we have in each area, INFOSAN supports the implementation. The mission or the goal of this framework is to strengthen national food safety systems. INFOSAN directly supports the action area 3, 4, and 5. Action area 3 has to do with food safety information and defining evidence. And the work of INFOSAN strongly supports in relation to risk communication and the communication of incidents among member states. The action area 4, that is really food safety incident emergency response, and here it's completely clear how INFOSAN is supporting the response of international incidents related to food safety in the region. And the action area 5, that is related to food safety communication and education. So as Rochelle mentioned, INFOSAN has been a strong source of information and training among member states, providing you with updated information every month with the bulletins, with all the trainings and publications organized by INFOSAN. So having said that, we also have 2 other action areas, but they are much more related to risk-based inspection and food safety policy and legal framework. But if you go through those areas, the response for emergency, the need to have legal frameworks that consider the need to have emergency response plans in place and implemented. There's also the work of INFOSAN being supporting all the action areas of the framework to strengthen food safety systems in the region. Let's give a little a look into the an analysis of all the foodborne incidents that happen in the region. And we are here considering the period from 2019, 2020, and 2021. Just to mention, so these 3 first bars are showing the number of events from imported products to the Western region. So Rochelle also showed the increase in events, which not necessarily implies an increase in cases, but can also show the better capacity from member states to detect, respond, and communicate food safety
Excuse me,
incidents in the region. Yes.
Ms. Simone,
Yes.
can you please take off your mask if it's possible? Because we cannot hear you loud and clear.
Really? Is it better if I put the mic here?
Is it okay if I ask you to take off your mask?
No,
Or
I
control
can't.
the mic?
Can we try the microphone of the computer? Is better? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Is better? Is this better?
Oh, yes, it's better. Thank
Okay,
you.
so then
Thank you.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, no, it's fine.
Okay, so then what I'm saying is that in this case, what we are seeing is an increase in reports, which doesn't mean necessarily that we have more cases, but we have more capacity to detect and respond and communicate food safety incidents in the region. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Can you confirm that you're seeing my screen?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So, and then in the other three bars here on the other side, we have events originated in the Western region, the Western Pacific region, which means that products that were produced in this region and they were exported and exported, and there were incidents related to these products. It's just to give you an overview and how it's happening. And I think this two graphs shows the increase in surveillance capacity and the detection in the region. Okay, so here what we are showing are the distribution of types of hazards, the category of the hazard detected. As expected, most of the incidents reported are related to biological hazards, and they are, so we have here 2019, 2020, 2021. We had an increase in reports in biological hazards in the region from products imported to the region, but also increase in products in events originated in this region. We also have more detection on allergen in the products. In some cases, it's an important increase, especially it's really important related to the detection response, detection capacity. In terms of products imported to the region, we have a slight increase in chemical and decrease in originated. But it is important to note that chemical hazards were only detected 2020 and 2021. We have no reports from 2019. And the decrease in physical hazards, both from imported and from originated in the region. This slide shows the food products more related to the incidents in the region. And then we have here, for example, for biological hazards, most important were milk and dairy products. Also, fish and other seafood were also very much involved in biological hazards. For allergens, the most involved products were snacks, desserts, and other types of pre-packaged foods. And it's mainly related to mislabeling or allergen not declared in the label of the product. We also had for fish, so we can see that fish is really in the top. We have then also some biological and chemical hazards, especially for fish events originated in the region. And here in the side, and here in the, we also have some vegetables related to biological hazards and products originated in the member states. In this other graph, we have in terms of specific hazards, in terms of incidents. The purple color shows products originated, incidents originated in the region, and the blue one shows in terms of products imported to Western Pacific region. And then just to show you some data, I can share the slides with you so you can have more detailed information. I'm not going through all the map, but you have here Salmonella and Listeria as the most prevalent in the region in terms of biological. In terms of allergens, we have egg and milk. In terms of chemical, we have the presence of histamine in the products. And then as physical, we have different foreign matters, not any kind of important, more prevalence from one another, but we do have some few cases on physical. So, and why INFOSAN is important? As mentioned by Rochelle, and knowing, so everybody here in the room reported or received information from INFOSAN at some point. So INFOSAN notification allow our member states for early warning, to be prepared, and to avoid and reduce public health impacts. If we take a look on all the events reported to INFOSAN, and the vast majority of them, we don't have human cases, which means that INFOSAN is achieving the goal to protect public health effects caused by a contaminated food through this early warning and very good communication among the network, among all the member states. So this is what I had to present. Sorry for my bad sound at the beginning. I will share with you the presentation, and I'm open to receive any questions, and I'm happy to respond to all of you. Thank you, and thank you very much for the opportunity to present.
Thank you very much, Dr. Simone, for this presentation on the INFOSAN incidents and the work that's been done in the region, how we can, again, strengthen this work to facilitate this type of information, facilitate the exchange of this type of information during food safety emergencies. And also thanks to my colleague Rochelle for the presentation on the work that we have been doing from the INFOSAN Secretariat perspective to achieve this goal and to support member states in the development of their capacities to respond effectively, to food safety emergencies at the international level, of course. Before going on to the break, I would like to ask colleagues in the meeting if you have any questions. I think we have some time to address them. So please, if you have any questions, feel free to raise your hands or put them directly in the chat and we will read them. I would like to remind everyone that we will be sharing the slides of the different presentations from today later today, so you will receive these questions, and in case you need more time to reflect on the content, and then if you have any questions, as Rachel mentioned, we've created this group dedicated to all the member states here that are in the meeting, and this group is available on the INFOSAN community website, and we encourage you to, if you have any questions at a later stage, go to this group, and you can either create a discussion thread there or reply to any of the already posted discussion threads with these questions or comments. So does anyone have any question at this stage? Any further information that you would like to get from colleagues that presented? Let me check the chat. It doesn't look like there's any questions.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
I have some questions about related to the second presentation. But for our audience in Korea, I will speak in Korean, so somebody will translate. 질문이 있는데요. 두 번째 프레젠테이션 관련돼서 질문이 있는데 우선 굉장히 좋은 유용한 정보였고 굉장히 도움이 많이 되었습니다. 그리고 특히 이제 여러 멤버들 멤버 국가들이 어떻게 활동하고 있고 얼마나 활동하고 있고 얼마나 빨리 반응을 하는지에 대해서 말씀을 해주셔서 굉장히 유용했는데요. 활동을 하지 않는 인액티브 네트워크 멤버가 좀 있었는데 혹시 왜 인액티브한지에 대한 그런 조사, 어떤 이유를 알고 있는지 그 이유에 대한 어떤 조사를 하신 게 있다면 좀 같이 공유를 하면 좋겠다는 생각이 듭니다. 어떤 그 장애, 배리어가 있어서 활동을 안 하는 것인지 아니면 단순히 뭐 관심의 어떤 차원인지 그런 것들을 좀 알면 훨씬 더 그 멤버들이 같이 액티브하게 활동을 할 수 있다라는 생각이 들어서 여쭙고요. 그 다음에 아까 제가 슬라이드에서 보았는데 리액티비티, 그러니까 반응 속도에 관련돼서 제가 본 바로는 사우스이스트 아시아에서 24hour에 리스폰스 하는 표시가 없었는데 또 가장 빨리 반응하는 나라는 또 사우스이스트 아시아에서 나온 걸로 보입니다. 그래서 혹시 이게 제가 뭘 잘못 이해한 것인지 아니면 평균적으로 퍼센티지에 있어서는 사우스이스트 아시아가 반응 24hour라든가 굉장히 빨리 반응하는 데 있어서는 평균적으로는 느리나 아니, 특별한 나라에서는 빨리 반응을 하는 것인지 그거에 대해서 조금 더 설명을 해주시면 좀 분명해질 것 같습니다. 네, 감사합니다.
Many thanks for these questions. My colleague Rochelle, would you like to comment something on this?
Yes. Sure. I can start, and if you have anything to add, Raul, please do. I don't know if my connection is stable. You can let me know if you cannot hear me correctly. So I would like to start with the first question about the inactive members and the investigation that we do in order to evaluate whether they're inactive or not. There are different reasons why an ECP
I think unfortunately Dr. Rochelle's connection is not working very well. Rochelle, if you're hearing us, your connection is not working very well.
Acknowledge or provide us with. I can hear you. I think it's back now.
Yeah, it's back. Do you want to try again, or do you want me to?
Yes, I can try one more time.
Okay, yes.
It's just to say that we collected several reasons of the inactivity of our members during the regional meetings, and that's why this meeting is also important in order to understand why sometimes the ECP, one of the main reasons is that the capacity of the country to conduct their own investigation in a fast way and effective way. Some countries, was the reason we always offer our support in order to enhance their capacity. Another reason is unrelated to the country's capacity, and it could be also that the person has retired, but they didn't inform us of their retirement. And there's no way for us to know any response from the person. And then we can contact the members in the same country to ask whether this person is still acting as an ECP, and if not, if they can also offer their help to one of the two reasons. I don't know, Raul, if you want to add to that.
I think what you've just mentioned, Rochelle, it's indeed very true. So we do have a lot of work to do with regards to the management of the membership itself, which is the core of the network. It's true. We are a network of authorities, but in the end, these authorities are run by people, and it's very important that we keep up to date the contact points, so that we know who's the correct people that we need to provide the information during this type of emergencies, or who's the correct people from whom we need to request this type of information during emergencies, right? So it's indeed one of our main tasks to go through the membership issues, any type of issues. It could be people not accessing to the community website, people not replying to our information requests. And we, as you said, we investigate what's the reason behind. And as Rochelle was saying, many times this is because colleagues have retired or there's been a change in their positions, and we need to designate a new person that will be the one in charge of liaising with the INFOSAN Secretariat during these type of emergencies. Of course, in other times, one of the reasons for which members are not as fast as they could, it's because of their own national capacity to respond to these emergencies. And one of the comments that we hear a lot is that people would wait until they have all the information to provide it to the INFOSAN Secretariat. And here I think I would like to remind member states attending the meeting that one of the principles of risk communication is actually to be transparent and to be prompt in the way in which we transmit this type of information. And many times we do not have to wait until we have all the information about an investigation to share it with the INFOSAN Secretariat, so that this would allow other countries to implement actions. We don't need to have all the results because maybe even early stage of our investigation will allow other member states to continue the investigation and finally conclude into something. This has been the case already many times that we have seen when managing international food safety emergencies, where one country is able to gather a piece of information, and for them this is not conclusive at all. But if they wouldn't have shared it with INFOSAN, they would not have been able to identify the source of an outbreak, for example, because once they shared this information with INFOSAN, we're able to share it with other member states. And by doing that, they are able to either identify matching cases or matching isolates, or identify a common import product or a country of origin that will allow them to continue the investigation in other countries. So this is also something that we always try, and as Rochelle was saying, we take these opportunities of having regional meetings and country workshops, and regional workshops, and not only meetings, to emphasize on the importance of sharing information promptly and not waiting until we have all the results. About the other question on the 24 hours acknowledgement of receipt, we do gather all the information. I think if I understood Rochelle correctly, she meant that it was the same from the provision of information. So Rochelle, if you can elaborate a bit more on this, yeah.
Sure. So first, in this graph, so these 2 points here, they are on top of each other. So here we have the green, but under it we have the red. And the red one is the acknowledgement of receipt under 24 hours in the Southeast Asia, which is equal to 41% of the times. So when we send emails, only 41% of those were acknowledged within the first 24 hours. And we also would like to emphasize that acknowledging receipt has nothing to do with giving the information, because we ask two things from our ECPs. First, we need to know that you received our email, and then when you do, you will collect the information and provide us with this information. But we need to know that someone has received our email. And here, the second point here in green is also 41%. Is 41% of the times we received information from the ECPs on average in Southeast Asia. Now, average is a tricky word because the numbers could vary, and that's why here you can see, even though the number here is low and only 41% were acknowledged in the first 24 hours, we still have the ECP in Thailand. When every time we send an information request, they did acknowledge under 24 hours. And the 41% could be some other ECP in another country, for example, took them 20 days to acknowledge, which means that it could bring us back to a normal average. I don't know if I answered your question correctly.
Yes, I understood correctly. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for this question. I also thank you very much, Rochelle, for your input to this question. We have some questions on the chat. I will try to read them fast so that we go on into the break in the time that was allocated for this, in due time, I mean. I think one of them is related to the access to the INFOSAN community website. And with this, before we also have the presentation of the community website, I would like to remind everyone here, for those that are new or that have still don't have access to the community website, please contact the INFOSAN Secretariat directly to infosan@who.int, and we will be able to provide support directly to you to access the INFOSAN community website. If you also encounter any type of issues when you are navigating or you lose access or whatever happens, please don't hesitate to contact us and we will be happy to provide support. Then we have two questions from our colleague from the Southeast Asia regional office, the Food Safety Advisor, Gongal, who I also greet here. Hi, Gongal, glad to see that you're here. And I think I can link these two questions a bit so that I save some time. How can we motivate emergency contact points to participate in INFOSAN, and what would be the factors that contribute to responding within 24 hours to the queries that the INFOSAN Secretariat sends to member states? I think that actually having this type of meetings and having the opportunity to meet the members from the network is a key point that certainly helps the members to understand better what their roles and responsibilities are with regards to notification of food safety emergencies. And this is also very much related to their obligations under the International Health Regulations Treaty. Some of these food safety emergencies at the international level would fall under the regulations, under these international health regulations framework. So it's very important that you keep that in mind when notifying, and that you understand very well what's your role, either as an INFOSAN emergency contact point or as an INFOSAN focal point, and act accordingly, right? So for us, it's very important to promote this type of work. I mean, this type of meeting, so that we have an opportunity to clarify any type of questions that members have, any type of further information that they would need, so they can understand their roles and notify us of any type of these issues, and we would then be able to provide the necessary support. I think, of course, there's other national issues and other context issues that could be related to the prompt notification, and this is also a reminder that we have, as Rochelle was saying, this type of simulation exercises that we can do, where we put you in real life, fictitious real life situation, and we request you to act upon that information that's provided to you, and explain how would you act under those circumstances. And with this, it becomes even more clear what you need to do to strengthen your capacities to respond to food safety emergencies. This could be developing a food safety emergency response plan. This could be improving the link between the national focal point for IHR and the emergency contact point for INFOSAN. Or this could be improving risk communication. I think with these different events that we hold, it becomes clearer all the work that needs to be done. So we also encourage you that if you feel like you would like to have this type of training, please contact us at the same email address. We're going to post it here on the chat, and please feel free to contact us and let us know in case you are in need of such support. With that, I think we can move on to the break. We'll have a 15-minute break. So we'll welcome you to reconnect again in 15 minutes, and we'll continue with the program as scheduled. Thank you very much. Hello again. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I think we are ready to resume with our program. I hope you had a nice coffee break over there. So it's a bit late, so don't drink a lot of coffee. I think we can move forward then with our program. And for that, I would like to kindly ask my colleague, Dr. Francisco Guajardo, to introduce himself again and move forward with his presentation on the new INFOSAN community website. So, Francisco, over to you.
Hello. Can you please tell me if you can see the screen?
Yes, we can. We just need to make it presentation mode.
Yeah. Perfect. Hello, I'm Francisco Guajardo, and I'm going to talk to you about the new INFOSAN community website. As my colleagues have mentioned, we replaced the old one with this new version in order to ease the communication between members and the INFOSAN Secretariat. So the INFOSAN community website is in one sentence would be the INFOSAN community website is the main communication tool for the INFOSAN Secretariat and the INFOSAN members to communicate, exchange information, and access important content on the international food safety events. It is important to note that the INFOSAN community website is private and only accessible for members. To be able to be granted access, an official designation letter from the member state is necessary, and this helps with the sharing of sensitive information. What is the INFOSAN community's website's 4 key functions? The ICW is our primary tool for disseminating food safety information to members during emergency situations. It provides a forum for members to discuss topical food safety issues with experts from around the globe. It is a platform for two-way collaboration and exchange among people in different organizations or professions and in different parts of the world. And it serves as a repository of food safety documents of global interest to food safety professionals involved in emergency preparedness and response activities. There are 5 main forms of information dissemination between the INFOSAN Secretariat and INFOSAN members. These are streams, incidents, discussions, announcements, and global search. We will go with the first one, which is stream. The stream section provides a quick overview of the most recent activities on the ICW. Activities are listed in a chronological order and are good to have a quick browse. The ICW has 3 stream views: INFOSAN stream with INFOSAN Secretariat activities, My stream, activities related to those to which the member has enrolled or subscribed, and community stream, all activities of the ICW. As you can see here, this is the presentation and the user interface of the new community website. And in the top left corner, we have the section stream. And then when you click on this, you will be able to see the 3 parts that we spoke about: INFOSAN stream, My stream, and community stream. to try to check for the community stream to get an overview of the most recent activities on the ICW, but also discover new topics. The stream section is a good section to start for new INFOSAN members. The next part are incidents. The incidents section is the heart of the ICW and provides information on all food safety incidents, past and present. New incidents and new updates on incidents are provided by the INFOSAN Secretariat. Members have the option to submit a request to the INFOSAN Secretariat to post a new incident. In this section, as you can see on the top, incidents, you can create an event an incident by clicking on create an incident. You're only submitting a request to create an incident to the INFOSAN Secretariat. The Secretariat is going to validate any submissions. You can use the filter option on the top and use more filters by clicking on more filters to find current and past incidents that interest you. These would be presented to you as you can see here. The next one will be global search. The search in all section on the ICW provides a simple tool to search for any content that is on the ICW. The search results can be filtered by the different categories of the ICW. You can see on this part, the search in all option. You can write, for example, here, salmonella, and you will go to the next, to the results where you can filter and you can see all alerts, incident, workspaces, discussion, documents, events, and members, and you will be presented with the results of each separate section. The discussions part. The discussion section on the ICW provides a space to have a discussion with other members on various food safety related topics. Discussions are always linked to another element of the ICW, as these discussions cannot exist on their own, as they must be linked to one of the following: documents, events, incidents, or workspace. You can see here in the arrows and the circles that you can follow discussions that interest you, and you will get a bell notification whenever there is an update. You will see updates under My Stream on the stream section of the ICW. As you can see here, the follow section or the comment section. Discussions behave very similar to a classic online forum where members can make posts and react to posts and comments of others within a defined topic. Announcements. Announcements can contain either highly important food safety information, such as a global food safety incident, information about updates and planned maintenance of work on the ICW, or any other relevant information that the INFOSAN Secretary wants to highlight to its members. Announcements appear on the top part of the ICW and are always posted by the INFOSAN Secretariat. The second point of the key point of the ICW would be a forum for discussion. There are several ways and places you can start a discussion, such as documents, events, incidents, and workspaces. In the section of documents, you can select a document of interest, as we see here in the agenda, or and select an existing discussion or create a new discussion. Your created discussion will be listed on the discussion sections of the ICW. You can upload an interesting article or document to the ICW and start a discussion around that paper. This is a great way to get feedback and new ideas. On the event section, you can create your own event by clicking this button, following the steps and giving the details and information necessary for the event creation. The event section on the ICW provides an overview of all the physical and online events that have been created by members and the INFOSAN Secretariat, for example, this one. You can start or join a discussion within an event by clicking on discussions on the right side. Each event features rich information about the event members can enroll or withdraw their attendance. Different types of events and participation can be created on the ICW: physical and live, workshop, training, webinar, working groups. In the first step of the event creation, you need to provide basic information, and in the second step, you can upload pictures and more content. In the incident section, select an incident of interest, follow the incident to our regular updates, select the discussion point to see all discussions for this incident, and select an existing discussion or create a new discussion. Your created discussion will be listed within the incident and on the discussion section of the ICW. As you can see here with the arrows and the circles, these are the sections of the website that are for interest in the incident section. In the workspaces, select the workspace of interest. Join the workspace to get regular update on the workspace stream. Select the discussions point to see all discussions for this workspace, and select the discussion to view comments and post your own. You can also react to comments. This is the discussions part. Here you will find all discussions from the different sections of the ICW. So basically all that we spoke before, documents, event, workspaces, will appear here, and you can filter them according to your preferences or topic of interest. As a repository of food safety documents, the document depository can hold most common file formats: Word, Excel, PDF, JPEG, etc. Documents can also be found within workspaces, events, and incidents. This is the actual location of the document. Members cannot directly upload documents onto the document repository. Each document must be linked to another element of the ICW: events, incidents, or workspaces. As you can see here again, the document section will be filtered by depending on your search requests. And in the workspaces, you can also see that there's a document section where you could upload directly because it's linked to a workspace. You could link directly the document and upload it. It serves also as two-way collaboration. This platform allows the members to communicate with each other in addition to providing the contact details of each of the members. For a community website, it is important to have up-to-date details, a profile picture, and a banner. This helps other members to find you and help to facilitate easier connections. New members are encouraged to have their profiles set up. The personal submenu features all ICW elements that are of interest to the user. Workshops that the user is a member of, incidents, and discussions that a member follows. The personal submenu features access to my personal information and my settings, which are essential to keep member details and preferences up to date. On my personal information, members can upload their profile picture, change their banner, update the details under my settings. Members can change the interface, language, and the level of notifications that you wish. As you can see here, when you click on the top right section, you will be displayed this menu. And in my personal information, you can change or adapt the information you want to share and your profile, as well as the banner and the profile picture. When you click on your profile picture on the right corner, you can access the personal submenu, and more information will be displayed. The members section on the ICW provides a list of all INFOSAN members. The first member on the list is the user, you. Basic and extended filter options by clicking on more filters can help to find specific members based on geography, language, function, professional specialty, etc. On the members section, it is possible to view other members' profiles, their ICW activities, and their direct email address with integration with Outlook. It is possible to select multiple users from the members list and use the direct email function. The members list feature mini profiles with key information like name, affiliation, country, and function. For example, the emergency contact point, ECP. Basic and extended filter options by clicking on more filters can help to find specific members based on geography, language, and function. The chat function on the ICW is similar to other chats at online community websites, including interactive emojis. The live chat function is located at the right bottom of the ICW and is always visible. When clicking the chat platform, a submenu will open. The submenu allows to look for specific members and directly send them a chat message via the torch icon. To enter the general ICW chat, messages are not private and can be read by anyone on this channel. To create a new channel and invite members to that channel via the pen and paper icon, and to have a bespoke setup of the chat box window via 3 lines and then the down arrow. You can see here first, this is the INFOSAN chat box, and then this would be the submenu displayed when you click, and in the top section you have the different filters, which again you can do a general discussion that can be read by anyone, or you can contact a specific INFOSAN members. Thank you for your attention. Now I would like to invite, if anyone has for the Q&A section, if anyone has any questions about how this works, and my colleagues are also free to join in for the questions.
Thank you very much, Francisco, for this very detailed presentation on the website. So as you say, yeah, if there's any questions, please, participants, feel free to raise your hand, comment in the chat.
Thank you for the presentation. And this is the outside advisory, Chang-Hwan Oh. I have some question about the ICW. What is is that the system is only for the ECP and the focal point in the INFOSAN network, or is it open to the just the ordinary people if he or she is qualified to be member of that ICW?
Yes, so the access is granted by official designation letter from the member state. So it would be only for ECPs and focal point. Again, this is because food safety events many times also have sensitive information, which obviously we always check with the member state before posting if they are okay with the summary that we post. But the access for the general population at this moment would not be possible.
Thank you.
Thank you, Francisco, and thanks for the question. You're right. I think, and this is also another reminder for you to please ensure that your contact details on the INFOSAN community website are up to date. This will, of course, allow us to make sure that we are contacting you or the appropriate colleagues at their appropriate channels when we are in such a need. So we encourage you to try to log in if you haven't. Try to log in onto the INFOSAN community website. and update your contact details in case you need to do it. Also, you can, as you saw, include a picture. This helps a lot to put a face on the name and make it a bit more human. I mean, these interactions that we have through INFOSAN. Is there any further questions? I don't see any. I think, as I said, we are going to share the slides. Okay, just one question. We have two questions. Yes. You want to take her back home?
No, I just wanted to tell you about.
Is it okay if I ask more?
Yeah, sure, please.
Yeah, thank you for the chance. Actually, there are many the food-related matters are made in every year in each country. I think that if it is the that the matter of the food, the incident to affect to other country, it is supposed to be reported to the INFOSAN, and it is collected and it is delivered to the country import that food. I think that's the procedure. But there are many other instances, just domestically made, happen. But even though there is no chance that affect to other countries' food hygiene or food safety, if it is a kind of important matter, I think it is better to be reported to INFOSAN too. Is there that kind of cases also be registered to the INFOSAN information so far?
Many thanks for your question. I think it's very interesting. Indeed, there's been already cases of incidents or emergencies at the national level that because national authorities at that point don't know if the incident is going to escalate to the international level. They prefer to notify this type of situation to INFOSAN. This would allow them to show that this is indeed only a national issue. For instance, if a certain commodity is indeed subject to export or import, this will give other member states the clarity that they need to see that the products were not distributed and that the products that are affected in a specific incident are only restricted to national distribution and not to international distribution. So many times INFOSAN is used to not to notify of an issue, but to allow others to see that there is not an issue and that they are safe with the products that they receive. I think a good example of this would be a couple of years ago in 2019, there was falsified alcoholic beverage in Costa Rica. And it was false, because it was falsified, this product was not the original, but the original product was indeed subject to exportation or exports in the sub-region. So that the original product was indeed in other countries, but the falsified one, they were not able to determine if it was indeed distributed from Costa Rica, but they were able to share the information with the other countries that were importing the original product, so that they could also go and test and see if these were the falsified products or if they were the original ones. So this allowed them to take action, even if it was a preventive measure and not a risk mitigation, a risk management measure itself. It was more like a prevention. So indeed, I think it's very important that when there's a doubt, when there's questions, it's always better to notify this type of information through INFOSAN so that everyone knows that there's no risk with a specific thing.
Thank you.
May I add something?
Yes, sure.
Sorry about the video, but my internet connection is not very stable. I would just like also to add that in some countries, when we have focal points in all the competent agencies, sometimes they also use our platform to communicate between them about a national incident without copying us sometimes in the email, because the information is related to the country itself and the product was not distributed elsewhere. So also sometimes when we have focal points from all over the agencies in the country, they can also use our platform to communicate between each other, especially if the incident gets bigger nationwide. That's the only thing I wanted to add. Thank you.
Thank you, Rochelle. Yes, this is very true. It's very important that you brought this up, because now with the workspaces that Francisco has just shown, we can see that it's possible to create a workspace for your country or for your sub-region, and you can then share information there directly with the members of that specific workspace. So if you want to prepare one for the Republic of Korea, for example, or for Japan, you can have such a workspace there, and it will be easier for you to then communicate with the national authorities that are related to a specific issue, or the sub-regional authorities that are related to a specific issue. So if you are also interested in exploring this type of approach, please contact us and we will be happy to support. I think we have 2 questions in the chat. One is if it's advisable, from Prita from Indonesia, if it's advisable to use the INFOSAN community website to notify an incident instead of using the emails. So it's either way, usually, because this is a new website. It's a bit different from the old website, to which you might also be a bit more familiarized. And it is still possible to report an incident through the INFOSAN community website. However, as it doesn't work the same, we would always encourage you to notify the INFOSAN Secretariat directly through email, in case you would like to create an incident on the community website that will be later published. So yes, you can do it, but please, because it's a bit different from the previous version, contact us also and let us know that you've tried notifying us through the website, so that we can check all the information and then create the related summary for that specific incident. We have another question here. If from Brunei BDFA, sorry, if one is working with an independent regulatory authority, can the management of the authority provide the designation, or will it have to be from a ministry? I think it would be best if the designation comes directly from a ministry, but it would also depend on your national context and the different roles and responsibility for the team that deals with the emergency response. From our side, I think as long as we have an official designation letter from the government indicating that you have been appointed as an INFOSAN focal point or as an INFOSAN emergency contact point, this would suffice for the requirement, and this would allow you to have access to the community website and be considered as an INFOSAN member. But they usually come from the ministry, but as I said, it will depend on your national context. If this independent regulatory authority is part of the ministry somehow, then I would say it would make sense for you to seek the approval from your independent regulatory authority and explain a bit more on how this is part of the ministry, so that we can certify that the letter is appropriate. I think we don't have more questions, so perhaps we can move to the next item on the agenda, which is the plenary discussion. Of course, I encourage you to share with us any further questions through email or on the INFOSAN community website. My colleague Francisco has also shared here in the chat the link for you to, yes, exactly, to go there and post your questions. But also, if you want to just email us, please feel free to do that, and we'll be happy to assist. And as I said, also in the chat, for those that are experiencing any issues, please contact us directly to infosan@who.int, and we'll be happy to provide support. We really encourage you to go and try to log in onto the INFOSAN community website and let us know if you have any issues, please. The only way in which we know that you are having issues is if you tell us that you are having issues. So please try to log in, and we will be happy to support.
Yeah, and again, Raul, just to add and to stress the importance of maintaining up-to-date the contact information and the ECPs and focal point, because it is from here, from this database in the ICW, that we get the contact details when we contact countries and members because of a food safety incident. So if your mail in the ICW is not up to date, we will send that email, that notification of food safety incident to that old email, and thus you would not read it. So please, everyone attending, if you could please update the profiles. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Francisco. This is indeed very true. And it's also part of one of the questions that we had previously. For the reasons of the inactivity, one of these reasons is because you don't have your contact details updated, and then we are not sending the information to the correct channel of communication. So please ensure that your contact details are correct, up to date, and if there's any changes, you can go there on your own and update them as you make this type of changes. And also, if you want, if you need assistance from the INFOSAN Secretariat to do this, you can also contact us, and we will be happy to provide any type of support. Okay, then I will share my screen to provide a bit of background for the panel discussion. As I said, for this panel discussion, we will be focusing on some barriers and challenges for active participation in the network. Could you please confirm that okay, I see that you're seeing my screen. This is very useful to have the screen from the organizers. Thank you very much. So just as a bit of background, if you remember, for those that were there in the second global meeting of INFOSAN, at that point we had breakout regional discussions with all the WHO regions on the different challenges and barriers that were identified following a study that was performed by one of our former colleagues on the experiences from the members of the network. This so that we could understand what they were perceiving as challenges or barriers to actively participate in the network. This means to acknowledge receipt, to provide us with information when we were asking them to provide this information. And this study looked into detail through different phases into these type of issues. And at the regional meeting, at the global meeting, sorry, in Abu Dhabi in 2019, we discussed the outcome of this study in different regions so that we get a better understanding of how you were seeing this as true or not, and what everyone, including the members and us, could do to overcome these barriers. So this is the outcome of that specific discussion that was held both from Southeast Asia and the Western Pacific regions from WHO. I will just very quickly go through them because it will help us to then discuss a bit more. One of the key points that were discussed at that stage was that food safety was not prioritized in countries because of the lack of information and data on the economic impact. The second one is that we still needed to clarify a bit more on how information was being handled with regards to confidentiality, because as my colleagues were saying, many times members are very concerned about the type of information that's shared through INFOSAN and who is going to receive this information. The following point that was discussed was that there was still a bit of uncertainties about the roles and responsibilities from both INFOSAN emergency contact points and INFOSAN focal points. This is a very important point is that INFOSAN was identified as person-driven rather than system-driven. So this means that it was relying only on one or two individuals that were driving the whole thing instead of having INFOSAN anchored in the food control system and the food emergency response plans. Then another key point that was discussed was that capacity for laboratories, outbreak identification and management was different through countries, which also impacts on how fast they are able to provide information. And finally, the last point was there was a lack of consistency in practice in managing imported food. So with this, we identified actions for members and actions for the Secretariat. Perhaps we can go only onto the actions for members, and then I explain a bit more on the generalities of what the INFOSAN Secretariat has been trying to do to address these key points that were discussed. So from the members, they agreed that one of the most important things that they needed to do was to test the effectiveness of their plans to manage emergencies, involving all the national stakeholders. Also to become more familiar with the INFOSAN community, with the INFOSAN community website, and with the INFOSAN members guide that was at that point new. It was very recently published, so that they could understand better the roles and responsibilities of the different members. Then that they would also be participating in the webinars and trainings that were organized by the INFOSAN Secretariat. And finally, provide national data to illustrate and investigate the impact of food safety emergencies and incidents on the economy of the different countries, so that this could help them to advocate for better investment and positioning better food safety. From the INFOSAN Secretariat perspective, the main focus, of course, it was to facilitate the exchange of information, not only during emergencies, but also during non-emergency periods, so that you could learn more from what other countries were doing to handle food safety emergencies, and also to handle food safety overall. So meaning learning from each other, and also to develop even more the training materials that have been developed at that stage, so that we can support member states to implement this agenda that was developed. Now, this was in 2019, before COVID, so we would like to get more input from you with the current situation, and see if these key points that were discussed at that stage are still seen as the main barriers for active participation in INFOSAN, or if this has changed because of COVID, because of different government, different contexts, or if there's something new that has made this different. So the aim of our discussion now would be, through a set of different questions, to try to get more information on the issues that you face trying to use INFOSAN, and how we can overcome this type of situations, to see if then the members need to do something different from which was established in 2019, and if the Secretariat needs also to do something different from what was indicated previously. So for trying to do this a bit more interactive, not mandatory, of course, we've created a Slido session. So we encourage you to please go to slido.com, and then you will find on the top part of the web page a section in which you can put this number 403-558, and you will be able to in live, like in real time, provide a response to the questions that you have, that we will post. Of course, if you don't feel comfortable using Slido, or you would like to just intervene, please do so. There's no issues. You can just raise your hand or comment on the chat, and we will be taking notes and gathering all the information to create then some sort of summary of the meeting, and see if these issues that we've just mentioned are still being faced, or if we need to do something else. Otherwise, you can use Slido and share with us some input. So perhaps I can give you like 30 seconds to go there. While I read, I see that some of you are already there. So the first question is, what barriers have you faced using INFOSAN in 2020-2021? So here we see that a lot of you think that confidentiality issues are still one of the main barriers, as it was identified in 2019 for sharing of information in INFOSAN. From the comments that we've received on the draft strategy that was shared with you and draft members guide, I saw that there was also a lot of concerns about the INFOSAN being seen as a person-driven situation, and then when this person left, then INFOSAN was it was difficult to find for the project, for the network, a position in the government. Then we have food safety is not prioritized in the third place. Lack of capacities to manage emergencies, unclear roles and responsibilities, and finally, lack of consistency in practice in managing imported food. So we see that from the results of this short survey, these are still valid. Perhaps if one or two colleagues would like to intervene here and elaborate a bit more on this, and let us know if you think that these are still valid, or if you were not able to find one of the barriers here in the poll. Please let us know, and we can include this in the list so that we can also develop some issues, some activities, sorry, some actions to overcome these type of issues. We see that it's still confidentiality issues here. I think from the INFOSAN Secretariat perspective, this is of course very important, and this is why we've also tried to include this in the members' guide and strategic plan for Asia. It's very important that you understand what happens to with the information that is shared through INFOSAN. And just now, I would like to say that, to reassure you that the information that you share with us through INFOSAN, it's only shared with the relevant colleagues in other member states, meaning the INFOSAN emergency contact point and the INFOSAN focal points that would be in need of such information, so that they can take action. So there's, of course, no need for us to share the information, the confidential information, with other stakeholders that would misuse or use it differently than for risk management measures. The main aim for members to share information through INFOSAN is to be able to implement risk management measures, and we make sure that the information that you share is only shared with these colleagues that are in charge of this management. We see there's 14 colleagues here that have voted. Again, if you have any other barriers or challenges that you've identified for the use of INFOSAN, please feel free to let us know now which this could be. Sorry, it went back to the same one, to the first one, sorry. Okay, if not, then let's move to the next question, which is, do you think that the key points to improve active participation identified at the second INFOSAN global meeting, so the ones that I read at the beginning, still exist? Do you think that these are still valid? Okay, I see someone voted no, so perhaps you can also tell us, like through the chat or raising your hand, what do you think? I see there's more yes, no now. I'll give a couple of minutes for colleagues to reply, or yes. Okay, I think they changed their minds, so everyone thinks that these are still valid. I think when COVID-19 started, everyone was very concerned about the position of food safety and what was going to, how food safety emergencies were going to be prioritized in the context of COVID-19. But I think that because many of the preventive measures for COVID-19 were related somehow to food safety good practices, like hygiene and disinfection, it actually impacted, let's say, in a positive way, and didn't undermine the prioritization that food safety have been achieving in different countries. Of course, this is something that, as many of you were raising, an ongoing work. We need to find more evidence. We need to find more information that would allow us to advocate better and position not only INFOSAN but food safety in a better place for our countries. And I think that also I am doing a lot of promotion on the regional meetings for INFOSAN and the different events that we hold. But I think that these are great opportunities to identify these key emergencies that have happened in a year or in the last years, that would also help us to go to our policymakers and tell them, look, this just happened in UK with melons from Central America. This could have impacted us too, and it was through INFOSAN that they were able to identify the source of the outbreak. And if they were not participating actively, then they wouldn't have received the information. So these are great opportunities for you to become more familiar with the information that's shared with INFOSAN. That's probably not related to your region, but that's still very relevant for you to make these type of points and show and demonstrate that the participation in INFOSAN is crucial and it needs to be prioritized. And also for you to then understand that for working and participating actively in INFOSAN, you need to have a food safety control system already developed and a food safety emergency response plan already developed. So this by start working on actively participating on INFOSAN, you will see that you will need to then move forward on the different stages that are needed for achieving this active participation. So I see there's a lot of yes here on the key points. So it's good. Maybe we are still on the same page. And I guess with this, the key actions that were identified in 2019 are still valid. So but let's see, because I think that it was also as part of the questions. Otherwise, we'll see. But okay, it's good to see that you still find that these are valid. Okay, so the next questions about the challenges. And again, we are asking you here if you think that there are new challenges for active participation in INFOSAN, aside from the ones that we've identified in 2019 and that were discussed in 2019. So aside from the confidentiality issues, aside from the lack of information to advocate food safety, aside from all this, is there anything else that you've faced during the last 2 years that the INFOSAN Secretariat would need to know at this point for the development of new actions to address these type of challenges? Please let us know. I think this is an open question, so you can type directly there, or also in the chat. You can also raise your hand and go ahead, so that I don't bore you all the time with my voice and other colleagues can speak. I see there's here already one question on collaborating among stakeholders. This is, of course, key for active participation in INFOSAN. We need to know who is working in the other sectors. We need to understand the type of work that they are doing and how this would fit into the response plan that's needed for dealing with food safety emergencies. And for this, again, I think that the simulation exercises that we have developed are very, very important, very relevant, and will help you to understand if you need to try to engage other ministries or try to reach new colleagues that probably were not considered before in the INFOSAN membership in your country. Here we have other questions. INFOSAN emergency, other answers, sorry, INFOSAN emergency contact point and focal points are not full-time. They have other primary responsibilities at work. This is also very true, and oops, sorry. And something that we try to take into consideration when we develop the different activities, because we understand that everyone is very busy and everyone everyone has other full-time job aside from the responsibilities that are part of the work of INFOSAN. So we try to. It's important, I also think, that you align these type of responsibilities that you have at your national level, so that part of your daytime work, your full-time work, is working on INFOSAN. So maybe if this is not the case, it's a good point to reflect and see if there's a need in your organization to delegate somewhere or someone, or designate someone as a main point for all the international collaboration with regards to outbreak management and event response. Then we have also a good comment here about the involvement of IHR and the link with INFOSAN. For this, I would like to remind everyone that we've developed a communication protocol between INFOSAN and IHR. And it's true that we can also provide a workshop or a series of webinars to help you to implement this communication template, to help you to identify the different stakeholders that are part of the emergency response for food safety, and that would need to be part of the communication protocol. I think if you don't have a food safety emergency response plan as such, I reckon that developing and implementing the INFOSAN IHR communication template, it's a great first step to then see how you would include this into a more comprehensive food safety emergency response plan. We have also a good comment here about how INFOSAN is not mandatory. Well, this is true. I think that we can certainly, from the INFOSAN Secretariat, elaborate a bit more on the different obligations that are part of the international health regulations and part of INFOSAN. So while yes, participation in INFOSAN is not mandatory, there would be certain food safety emergencies that member states, by participating in the international health regulations, would need to notify through INFOSAN, so that it's also notified to the international regulations. It's also very important that you keep in mind that part of the joint external evaluation for the capacities of the international health regulations, and the only two indicators of food safety are the participation of INFOSAN. So if you're willing to take part of this joint external evaluation, and you don't have designated INFOSAN emergency contact points and focal points, then you will not get that score. So it's also very important, and while it's not mandatory, it's part of the evaluation. Here we have a couple of more comments. We'll take note, and we'll make sure that these are addressed both in the strategic plan and on the summary that we're going to prepare for the meeting. And we are also going to show how we are going to address this type of challenges that are now identified as new from different member states. We encourage you with this. I just see that there's a new comment about engaging more member states. We are indeed seeing how we can, with the new community website, engage you more in the different activities that we hold. These could be webinars or regional meetings or other country or sub-regional workshops on dedicated simulation exercises, so that when you see on the website that there's other countries having this type of activities, you can also tell us, like, hey, I also want to be part of this, or I would also like to be invited to this type of events. Now we're over with Slido, and in the last 1-2 minutes, I would like to leave these two questions for you for further reflection. We are going to post them on the INFOSAN community website. I think they are also very much related to what you've already identified as new challenges, but we would like to ask you now if you see that there's any specific challenge with information sharing between member states in Asia, meaning the member states that are attending this meeting now. This will also help us a lot tomorrow when we hold the session on the strategic plan and members guide, to see if there's anything that we haven't included. Tomorrow, when we discuss this guide, it will be the final opportunity before we produce the final version of the document to include this type of specific challenges that you've identified as relevant for the region, and make sure that they are addressed through a specific strategic plan action, with a specific outcome and a specific indicator. So please keep in mind this question. Reflect today if you think that, and tomorrow morning, if there's any specific challenge for member states in this region that we would need to address, aside from the ones that you've already identified and that we will take note, of course. And finally, and this will also, I think, be part of our discussion tomorrow, I would like to invite you to reflect on how we could overcome these challenges. Many times it's quite interesting that when we have this type of conversation with member states, they always keep referring to something such as a network that will help them to share information, or a program that will help them to know who to contact. And then we are always very happy to remind you that we already have INFOSAN for doing this, and that we are happy to present INFOSAN to the different stakeholders in your countries, so they know that INFOSAN is there, so that they know what INFOSAN can do and how they can use it. Because many times it's not that they don't want to use it, as you've just said. INFOSAN many times is person-driven and not system-driven, and this type of country workshops helps a lot to make all the relevant stakeholders see that it's very important that all of them participate. So this is just an example on how we can overcome this type of challenges. I will give you more time during tomorrow morning and the end of your evenings to reflect a bit more on the different challenges that you've identified and that we've identified. I think we can already share a bit of this on the community website. after the session, as I said, we're going to share the slides. We're going to share a bit of this material so that you keep reflecting, and for tomorrow to be more, to have a bit of more ideas on what needs to be included in the strategic plan. I think that would be it. Thank you very much for your participation in the slide. I think it's an interesting way to compile information, and I think it will still be open. So if you have any further comment that you would like us to take into consideration, please feel free to post it there, and we'll make sure to address it in due time. Thank you very much. Let me just share the other screen for the wrap up of the day, which will be, 1 second. Okay, there it is. For the wrap up of the day, just check. Are you able to see my screen now? Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So then I would like to give the floor to my colleague, Dr. Eleonora Dupuy from FAO INFOSAN Secretariat for the wrap-up of day 1 and preview of day 2.
Yes, thanks much, Raul, for the floor, and I would like to thank the participants for the active discussion in this first day. And I would like to mention that materials from this first day will be available. Anyone can retrieve them on the INFOSAN community website, and also everyone could post the questions related to the topics which have been discussed today. Then also you are encouraged to have a look at the draft Asia INFOSAN members guide and strategic plan, and I would like to use this opportunity to thank those countries who have provided already their feedback. And on behalf of FAO WHO INFOSAN Secretariat, would like to thank for joining us today, and to see you tomorrow. Thanks, Raul, and back to you.
Thank you, Eleonora. Thank you very much for this wrap up of day 1. I think it was, as you said, very interesting online discussion, given the situation. But it's very good that you were able to provide some comments, and that will help us to understand the direction that we need to take to keep strengthening the network, and by doing that also strengthening your food safety control systems and the overall response that you have for these type of emergencies. As Eleonora was saying, we're going to share all the materials with you, including the draft, updated version of the draft of the members guide and the strategic plan. As you know, we've distributed this document with all the member states in this region, and we've asked you to have a look at it and provide any comments, any feedback that you have. And many of you have provided comments. We thank you very much for that. And we've updated the version with the information that has been made available. Now today for you tomorrow morning, you'll receive this document, updated version. So we'd like to encourage you to have a look at it, and please tomorrow be ready to let us know if you have any other comments, any other thoughts on this. We're also going to have an hour, I think, to discuss this document. So we'll have some time, certainly. And please have a look and let us know if you have any further comments. Before closing, I would just like to see if there's any questions. We are a bit before time, so that's fine, but we have some space for questions if you have any questions. If not, please don't hesitate to go onto the community website and post your questions there. We've created a dedicated discussion thread for this, where you can post your questions, your comments, your feedback from the day 1, And yeah, please feel free to have a look onto that discussion thread on the website and the workspace that's been created for INFOSAN in Asia members. If we don't have any questions, I think we can finish early today. As I said, not an issue. You'll have time to reflect on the different questions that I've shared with you, and also to have a look on the documents for tomorrow's session. On behalf of the INFOSAN Secretariat, again, I would like to thank you, everyone. Thanks a lot to the Republic of Korea authorities, the Honorable Minister for his presence today, and all my colleagues at FAO and WHO regional offices and headquarters for their support for day one. We look forward to meeting you today, day two, and please have a great end of the day over there, and we'll see you tomorrow.